Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. To my left we've got Scott, so hope you are well.
Yeah, I'm good, Dan. Hope you are too, mate.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Just glad we got through to the semi-finals of the cup.
Yeah, it was a good night, wasn't it? It was not short of drama. And obviously after the Blackpool defeat, which was a bit of a shock to the system, that result. But I think it was fairly clear that he was going to play full strength, ready for Wednesday. And I didn't fancy us in the penalty shootout. I think just because of the way the second half went, we got scrappy and we struggled a bit. I think when Bolly went off, we seemed to struggle a bit. We conceded, and then I think if there was going to be one winner, it probably looked like it was going to be Wolves. So yeah, with that momentum and no extra time, I didn't have a great feeling going into it. And then obviously missed first penalty, so I thought, here we go. But Hendo did his magic, and the rest of the lads stepped up. Who, crikey, if you put Freuler, Worrell, Colback as the next penalty takers, who am I missing? Morgan Gibbs White, you'd expect to take one, but the other ones perhaps wouldn't have expected. So I thought they did really well with their penalties.
Yeah, we won them ones. It felt like the playoff game again. As I faced it yesterday, it felt like the playoffs all over again, especially that last bit when Sheffield United was on top. And I mean, it was one of them ones. I had money on scoring that penalty, and when he missed it, I thought, here we go. But I mean, fair play to the lads, rest of them for scoring them.
Yeah, I thought it was a real show of character. To just struggled a little bit. I think we're just down to the bare bones at the minute up top. So to say that they kept Wolves at bay, turned it into a scrap because it was just chucking it down onto it, and the midfield were great. It just turned to a scrap. Obviously, more quality was needed, but I thought we did well to stick at it, and then to show that character to step up and take those penalties was brilliant. And yeah, Endo with his drinks bottle did his stuff, didn't he? So yeah, he just seems to absolutely thrive in that penalty situation, doesn't he? He seems to kind of like really make a big fuss of it, and yeah, that's a few penalties he's saved now, isn't it, this season?
4 I worked at Kane, Rice, then Wednesdays. I might be one here.
He didn't save Zaha's, did he? He hit the post, but yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, making a good habit, and it is. That's the good thing with this team, because last season we did it as well. We found a way of winning games last season. I mean, it was nitty gritty last season. And we changed formations and this and that, and we found a way to win games. Whereas we're starting to find that now with this team. We've found that character to defend and find a way to win games, even when it's ugly. I know Joe Worrell said it in his interview, but it is not. We are starting to see that team spirit and that unity that we've seen quite a lot last season, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's taken a while, hasn't it, to kind of get the team spirit, get him into the way of Cooper playing. But I think definitely the last few months at home, I think probably starting with that Tottenham game in the cup and Palace at home, just started to look a lot more like the type of football we were treated to last season. And yeah, even though the second half wasn't great, there was still some really good, encouraging passages of play. There was one bit in the second half where it was just pure one-touch passing out from the back, and all of a sudden we were up the other end, and that was between 3 or 4 players. So yeah, there's a lot more to come. I think Scarpa looks like he's just finding his feet with the English game, and I think he just needs more minutes into his legs, even though he didn't have that much of an impact. You can tell he's got a good first touch. He's an intelligent player. So I think once he gets up to speed, a little bit like Loddy, really, because it's taken him. But I think Loddy's been really good. The last few games, I've been really impressed with Loddy. He just seems to be focusing more on his defending than he's attacking, and seems to be a lot more switched on in terms of what we expect from an English type of fullback, that getting rid of it when he needs to get rid of it, standing up, not diving into tackles as much as what he was doing earlier in the season, not as easy to beat. And I think he's been a big positive, Loddy, in the last few games. He's still not perfect, but I think the way in terms of his development, fingers crossed, he's just going to get better and better and probably would just like a little bit more output from an attacking sense. There's been a few times where he's put some cracking balls in, but nobody quite at the end of it. So fingers crossed, we can start bringing it all together soon.
Yeah, definitely. Lou Diaz came on quite a lot this last couple of months, and he seems to be a lot more settled. And even with Scarpa, you can tell his quality. And do you feel that with Scarpa? I mean, it will probably the tougher test he will get at the 3 games he's featured in. But I mean, you can see that what he has got, and it will be the more he plays, the more he will get better, as he said.
Yeah, I think so. What did you make of Morgan Gibbs White on Wednesday?
You know what? He looked as dangerous as out. Like he just seemed on it, and that celebration for his penalty was unbelievable. Like probably upset a few people.
Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of like, it was quite funny, wasn't it? He started it, and then that Wolves player, I didn't think he was getting that much abuse, so he decided to, and I thought, really? So I was glad Jack Colback did it when he scored his as well. So yeah, potentially might have been made to look a bit stupid, but it turned out all right, didn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And to be fair, when he hit that penalty, I thought it reminded me a little bit of Cafu's against Sheffield United, but it went straight down the middle. I thought and won't go in. Then he went in. I was like, so glad he scored it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good penalty in the end because it went in. So yeah.
I mean, we got Leicester tomorrow. I mean, it's sort of a derby, but it's not a derby. Um, Depending if you're asking a Leicester fan or Forest fan. But I mean, it'd be nice to keep this momentum going.
Yeah. Yeah, on the back of Wednesday, because I was kind of thinking, obviously, the Blackpool game, it's a real chance to get some momentum, into the season, on the back of Chelsea, Southampton, but yeah, a bit of a blip there, but maybe a timely reminder of there's no days off. So to get that result, to get to the semi-final, that should be another big shot in the arm. But as I just said, there's no days off. Don't think they can coast against Leicester. It's going to be another massive game where it's going to have to be 100% to get something out of it. And I'm sure they'll be wanting to make amends for the drubbing that we gave them last season as well. So yeah, it'll be a tough game because they all are tough games in the Premier League. But quietly confident as well that if we kind of do our stuff, like we have been doing, we'll create those moments and fingers crossed grab a few goals.
That's very because Leicester not been on it this season, and even this morning when I woke up, first thing I thought was last season when we beat them 4-0. But then later on, it reminded me of when we lost 4-0 to them this season. But how far we have came as a team and a squad since that Leicester game, it's been no short of massive. And I mean, with that momentum now, I mean, we got to be favourites tomorrow.
Yeah, I think being at home as well. Obviously, the City Ground's becoming a bit of a fortress at the minute, so got to keep going with that. Fans, will play the part again, and tomorrow, particularly with being Leicester, so it'll kind of up that motivation from the stands, that little bit extra. But yeah, I think you're right. There was talk of Cooper losing his job, after that Leicester game. So to have that backing from the owner with that new contract after that game, and we are a different team from the start of the season. There's no doubt about that. We look far much more like a team, and we've got a point to prove. I think we owe Leicester in terms of what they saw on that night is not what they'll be seeing on Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And Rodgers is under a lot of pressure as well at the minute with how it has been this season because they're not really turned up like they after and that investment side of thing that Leicester not had in the summer. It started to show a little bit. I mean, they do get the odd result here and there, but they've not been the best to be fair.
No, but I suppose they'll be approaching it again as it's a derby game. It means more to their fans than what it does to ours, I would say. Um, but I know that we say it's not a derby just to wind the Leicester fans up a little bit, but when it comes down to it on the day, it's still got that little bit of spice. Like I would put it akin to probably a Notts County game where they're desperate to get one over on us, and more so from the other side. The Derby County game is obviously our big rivalry, but the atmosphere last season at City Ground, that cup game was brilliant. That was probably one of the highlights of the year. That cup result, brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a shame that if Bailey's not going to be fit tomorrow because we look quite a settled back five now with that back five, and it's a shame that Bailey did come off with that knock, and hopefully it's only Cooper talk, as we call it, but hopefully we can see that settled five, or could you see McKenna coming back in tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was fairly evident when Bolly went off against Wolves. We struggled a little bit within there. So he's such a presence, even though he's a kind of a little bit, sometimes a little bit gangly, perhaps not the most technically gifted, but he's a bit of a warrior at the back, and he sticks his head in everywhere, and he wins his fair share of tackles and aerial duels. So obviously Cooper has preferred that back pairing from Cook and McKenna, which when we think back over the season, then I think that's probably right. That has been the best combination. So we'll see. I mean, Scott McKenna had not really put a foot wrong really until I think just the Bournemouth game with that blip. But Scott McKenna, I thought, was a little bit unlucky to lose his place. I'm not sure if he lost his place through injury to start with and just hasn't got back in. But I thought, if anything, he was probably our best centre half of the season up till that point. So, yeah, I think this is the thing now with the competition for places, that if somebody gets an opportunity, then they're going to want to grab it. So, if Scott is in tomorrow, then so be it. And kind of, he'll do a job, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully we'll start to see that ethos as well of what we had last season with the next man up. Now we've got that
Yeah.
settled 11, starting 11 that we know probably is our best level. And hopefully we start to see that next man standing there, which will
Yeah,
always be it.
yeah, I think so. And then I think midfield is that's picking itself at the minute. And then we'll just have to see up top. But you kind of think you want to give Scarpa a bit of a run of action now, just to see if we can get his fitness up. But I suppose it'd be dependent on whether Taiwo's fit or not. But it's a big month, isn't it? And I think the worry is if you're bringing players back too soon, they're going to miss for longer, and we can't afford that. Because I think if anything's I think my biggest worry for the season is injuries. I think we've got enough quality in the squad and the momentum to retain Premier League status. But I think my worry is that if we have too many injuries, then that might be too much for the squad currently. So I'll be interested to see transfer activity, and if we can bring some more players in, because I think at the minute it's just starting to show with the subs that perhaps we need a bit more on the bench. I think Wolves, for instance, I think it showed the kind of bit of the depth of their squad, that the players that they brought on. I mean, I think he'd rested a few anyway, but all their subs, I think about 5 subs came on, and it was like they're all all quality players. I know we've had a bit of that this season, but I think at the minute we could just probably do with with some reinforcements.
Yeah, and that's the thing because with looking like we're going to sign Danilo from where Scarpa came from, and it looking like that we are after Ben Belton and we have to centre off from France, which will boost things up, and hopefully that, especially with Lingard and Matt, hopefully he comes back sooner rather than later. But especially with the semi-finals coming up, but hopefully we do start to see um, them players start to come back sooner rather than later and get the players that we all been needing with back as well.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame that Lingard got injured when he did, because he was just obviously just coming into some form. So he was jumping around and dancing around the other night, so he can't be too badly injured.
Now that's what I thought. But I mean, it's you never know with Cooper talk because Cooper will just play it down and he might be fit. So
Yeah.
so hopefully it might happen like what happened last season with Warwick comes back and scores and put man in match. Hopefully Towers to start tomorrow.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I kind of confidently quiet, I think, that we can do it.
Yeah,
Confident,
definitely.
quietly confident even. Yeah, quietly confident that we can, yeah, get a result tomorrow. I think just the home crowd is just, it's such a, when you talk about the 12th man, always, yeah, 12th man, but at Forest, I think it really is a 12th man at the minute. It's so important. So everybody will be up for it. 3 o'clock kickoff, we haven't had for ages.
Yeah,
So yeah, looking forward to it.
that was another thing I was going to touch up upon because it's a bit weird how they kept it out of 3 o'clock kickoff with it being Leicester and what happened last season. I mean, I would have thought that they would have changed it to a earlier kickoff, but I'm not mainly because it is a 3 o'clock kickoff, which we haven't had for a long while. So
Well, fingers crossed that there won't be the bother that was had last season. But you never know, do you? But fingers crossed it won't be like that again.
yeah, definitely. Have you got a score prediction?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Forest 2-1 tomorrow.
Mm. Who you got scoring?
I think Brennan, and I'll go with Morgan Gibbs White.
Oh, nice. They will say about your socials as well.
Yeah, you can follow me on Scott at Munich and Madrid on Twitter.
Do get following it, guys. So I'd like to thank you for coming on, Scott.
No worries, Dan. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you for watching, guys, and up the Reds.